Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. The clapping has gone on. I felt like I should bang again the gravel, but I will not do that. Thank you so much. Okay, colleagues, so we have 4 requests, and I'm going to begin with Iran. Will be followed by Germany and then Zimbabwe. You have 2 minutes. Iran, you have 2 minutes. The timer? I need the timer on.
In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, the Secretariat of the IPU. Explanation of position of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding the resolution parliamentary strategies to forge the two-state solution. The Islamic Republic of Iran, based on its principled and fundamental positions on the right to self-determination of the Palestinian nation, rejects the project because it legitimizes the usurper occupying Zionist regime. We also reject the two-state solution. The Islamic Republic of Iran believes that the only durable, lasting solution to the Palestinian issue is the return of all original inhabitants of Palestine to their motherland and the establishment of a unified country with its capital as with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. This can be done through a general referendum of all the original inhabitants of Palestine. The Islamic Republic of Iran strips itself of the responsibility to support this resolution and reject it. We ask the IPU Secretariat to include the Islamic Republic of Iran's official position, as I am reading, to be reflected in all the documents. Rahmat.
Thank you very much. We take note of that. Islamic Republic of Iran. Germany will be followed by Zimbabwe. Palestine will be next. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As mentioned before, we keep the compromise of yesterday, but we are going to express a reservation. And first of all, I may say that Germany is supporting a two-state solution. I would like to say that very clear. However, the German delegation feels unable to support the resolution in front of us, namely because of reasons. There's not a single word that mentions the responsibility of the Hamas for the terrorist attacks. We miss an unconditioned release of all hostages as a clear precondition for any negotiation. And we think the text should emphasize that acts of violence are always unacceptable, regardless which side commits them, and that Israel has a right to self-defense. We demand that new stakeholders and neighbors should take a stronger role in addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. This is not reflected in the text. So we urgently need a perspective for civilian political power, which is based on people who want peace with their neighbors, doing the best for their own people, including gender-responsive legislation and policies that protect the rights and dignity, prevent gender-based violence, as it is described in the resolution. And we all know that the terrorist organization of Hamas does not stand for all this, and even announced to repeat attacks again and again. I'm certain the IPU can find better ways to stand together and address this important issue, because we all have the aim to come to peace in that region.
Please conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Germany, we take note. Zimbabwe, followed by Palestine.
Thank you very much, Madam President. May I draw your attention to paragraph 1 of the resolution, which clearly acknowledges the role of the United Nations Security Council as well as the United Nations General Assembly in trying to find a permanent solution on the Palestinian question. I would have thought that the resolution could have included the peace efforts that have been and continue to be undertaken by Qatar and Egypt, which ended in the signing of the ceasefire. But although the ceasefire has not been respected as agreed through the negotiators, that is Qatar and Egypt, I think it is important that we acknowledge the efforts that are being done by countries such as Qatar and Egypt in that first paragraph. Apart from negotiating for a ceasefire, they've been also involved in a tremendous manner in ensuring that humanitarian aid gets to the affected people, especially the Hamas. On paragraph 17, I noticed that there is a recommendation to transform the Committee on Middle East Question into a strategic task force on the Middle East. I don't understand the rationale because the Committee on Middle East Question is a standing committee in terms of our statutory. The strategic task force on the Middle East would be an ad hoc committee. So what is the rationale really of changing?
Please conclude.
I'm concluding the nomenclature of the committee to a task force. I so submit.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, the concerns that have been raised will be noted, and including the ones that you have mentioned about paragraph 17 and how the modalities would be will also be addressed in the same context. So in the sense that paragraph 18, what you have raised, the executive committee will be looking into the modalities of how best that can be handled, but we have taken note. Palestine will be followed by Austria, and Hungary will be next.
Thank you, Madam President. We welcome adopting the resolution with its initial draft by consensus as a step affirming ending Israeli illegal occupation for regional and international peace and security, even though it doesn't fulfill the aspiration of the Palestinian people. However, we affirm it was a compromised language and nothing was mentioned on condemnation. And we affirm that in no way there is equation between oppressor and oppressed. And we recommend and ask for the next resolution to ask for economic sanctions and irresponsible trade of arms to end the illegal occupation and to condemn its international crimes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Palestine, we note the comment also that has been put forward. Austria, followed by Hungary. Austria, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Austria wishes to pose 3 reservations with regards to the resolution, even though we fully support the two-state solution as has been stated in the resolution. Details have been committed to the Secretariat in written form. They refer to 3 paragraphs, and it's 2 terms which we would suggest to phrase differently. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Austria, we take note. Hungary will be followed by Sweden.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the floor. On behalf of the Hungarian delegation, I would like to express our reservation regarding the whole text. We can't find it balanced, and in our view, it does not serve the long-term peace. Thank you.
Hungary, we take note. Sweden?
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to start to say thank you to the committee for their work. I would, it's a little bit loudly here, so I have difficulties to speak, but I will try if I raise my voice. Thank you. It's a little bit loudly, but I will try to speak. Thank you, please.
Colleagues, there are people standing in front in front of the person who is speaking. Please sit down so that we can see each other. Thank you. Sweden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. We would like from Sweden, just as well as Germany, to send a word for the continued work, that it would be very pleasant if there could be a word about Hamas kidnapping of the hostages and the release of them. We see it as an important part of the ongoing conflict. It's just a message to send to the continued work of the working group for a release of the hostages, and as soon as possible. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Sweden. Colleagues, this is the list that I had, and we take note of what you have said, and it will be included in the report that we are going to have about these discussions here. Okay, colleagues, since we have already noted the colleagues who have taken the floor and the concerns they have raised, and we have already adopted our resolution. So this item number 5 is already done, so thank you so much for your cooperation. Now I will give back the presidency to the President of the Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Axel. Dear colleagues, actually we covered all the issues in our agenda. Now the leadership of the Interparliamentary Union and geopolitical groups, we will listen to their final remarks according to tradition. First, the final remarks of geopolitical groups. With your permission, I'll give the floor to African group member and from South African Parliament member, Mrs. Toka Diziza. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. The slogan I'm just articulating just now says, the name of the women must be praised. And it was a slogan by women as they marched against the apartheid regime, which demanded that women carry passes. And through that march to the Union building, the Prime Minister of the time collapsed and died. So when we say, let the power and the name of the women be praised, we say Malibongwe. Madam President of the Assembly, Madam President of the IPU, General Secretary of the IPU, fellow speakers, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the end of this 150 years of the IPU Assembly, let us pay our tribute to the Parliament, government, and the people of Uzbekistan for the warm hospitality that they've extended to us from the day we arrived until today. We have built friendships and got exposed to the culture and the warmth of the people of Uzbekistan. Madam President, as the Africa Group, we wish to also thank you and all members of the Assembly for having stood with us in solidarity when we faced the difficult moment during this Assembly as we lost one of our own, Mr. Roy Ngulube, the Clerk of the Parliament of Zambia. Madam President of the Assembly, during this session, we were able to reflect on the theme from our various parliaments and shared with one another on progress we have made in respect of social development and justice, but also shared the challenges that continue to bedevil us. We congratulate the Assembly again for encouraging us to remember the need for continued advocacy in ensuring that more young people participate in the work of Parliament as members, but also as workers of these important institutions. The continued work on women's participation in Parliament is applauded as this Assembly was celebrating the 40 years of that work. Madam President, there remains vexing issues that require further work that still needs to be done. The issues of conflict, as well as the need for conflict resolution, the need for dialogue, and the attainment of peace is still a matter that we as this Assembly have to continue to find ways in which we can address them. Madam Chair, we've all experienced the trauma of war and conflict and the impact it has on women and children. We've also seen how conflict and wars slows down progress. It is for this reason that we cannot tire but continue to do this work. It is for this reason, Madam Chair, that we applaud the IPU for the work it has been doing in strengthening dialogues and supporting the work of those parliaments and countries trying to work towards the resolution of conflict. We applaud therefore the work that has been done by the task force on the Ukraine and Russia conflict. We believe the IPU can explore similar interventions in our region in Africa in particular, in countries such as the Sudan and the DRC. We also applaud the work the IPU is doing in helping parliaments that are in transition, in particular in our continent, such as Chad, and the success that you have made in that regard. We also applaud the continued work that you have committed yourself, as you said and given the report in the Governing Council this morning, on the continued work that you'll be doing in Burkina Faso and Mali. We stand ready as the Africa Group to work with you on some of those issues. Madam President, the current system of dealing with issues of emergency items as it stands today, while one appreciates that there are standing orders and procedures, but I think we should also appreciate that it robs us an opportunity of deliberating on critical issues that affect our world. If one looks at one of the proposals that was made, looking at the impact of the earthquake in Myanmar, I'm sure all of us would have agreed that it was an important issue. But because of the system in which such matters get deliberated upon, does rob us an opportunity of focusing collectively on matters that affect all of us. And I do hope, as we reflect and look at our standing orders and procedures, we will find better ways on how we could deal with some of those matters going forward. So as Africa Group, we want to say thank you for how we have conducted this assembly and really wish that when we meet in October, we would have done more work in our various parliaments as well as the regions. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aziza, for your kind inputs. And now I'll give the floor to Arab Group member, Mr. Musa Hadid. Please, the floor is yours.
بداية أود أن أعرب عن شكري وتقديري لرئيس الاتحاد البرلماني.
Thank you, and at the outset, allow me to express my thanks to the IPU President. And I'm delivering the statement on behalf of the Arab Group. Tulia Aksen, IPU President, Mr. Martin Chungong, Secretary General of the IPU, Your Excellencies, Speakers of Parliaments, Heads of Delegation, distinguished parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen. May the peace of God be upon you. So, today we conclude the work of the 150th Interparliamentary Assembly. And on behalf of the Arab Group, I wish to express my thanks and appreciation to the IPU President and Secretary General, and indeed to the Secretariat and to the Republic of Uzbekistan, our host country. Thank you so much for all of your efforts in ensuring a successful assembly. Once again, this underscores the importance of common parliamentary action to try to rise to the challenges we currently face. Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting today is occurring at a time when the situation in many regions around the world is particularly alarming, and we must rise to this challenge as parliamentarians. We must focus our action on respect for international law and on protecting human values. It's impossible to ignore the tragic situation in occupied Palestine. The war machine of the Zionists continues to target innocent people and in flagrant violation of international law, with a shameful silence around the world in the face of this Palestinian suffering. On behalf of the Arab Group, we wish once again to reiterate our strong support for the Palestinian cause, and we call upon regional, national, and international parliamentary organizations to call for respect for international law and for moral law, and to apply pressure as well as they can to ensure international support for the Palestinian people, so that Palestinian people can enjoy their right to self-determination, a state with Jerusalem as its capital, in accordance with United Nations resolutions and the Arab Peace Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, experience has shown that common parliamentary action is an effective tool to promote dialogue and preventive diplomacy. We have a role to play as representatives of our peoples to try to restrict conflict, and we don't want the status quo to be imposed by the force of arms and military might. Today, we are facing political, economic, and environmental challenges. And we need to strengthen our parliamentary action, work together more effectively in order to propose innovative solutions. to respond to our people's aspirations for development and prosperity. We reiterate our commitment to the principles of democracy and human rights, and we call for a strengthening of intercultural dialogue. We call for non-interference in the internal affairs of states, so that we can ensure collective security. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank everybody who has contributed to a successful assembly, and we sincerely hope that the outcome of this assembly will lead to tangible steps to consolidate Parliament's role and help us to build a fairer future. We're convinced that our cooperation will be vital in building a fairer world and a more humane world as well. Thank you very much indeed for your attention. May the peace of God be upon you.
Thank you very much for your great speech, and you also highlighted very correctly different tasks of your group, and thanks for your kind words addressed to us also. The next, the floor is given to the Asia Pacific group, and the representative of the Chinese delegation, the Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Science and Education, Mr. Jiang Chunsu, please.
Madam President of the Assembly, Madam President of IPU, Mr. Secretary General, and dear colleagues, it is a great honor for me to address you today on behalf of the Asia Pacific Group. First of all, let me express on behalf of our group our sincere thanks to the host country for the great hospitality accorded to us. On April 5th, we held the APG meeting, which was attended by 18 delegations. The meeting was undoubtedly a great success, with plenty of consensus reached within the group. During the meeting, APG members expressed their strong support for and keen interest in participating the IPU-related work, with a large number of candidates competing for vacancies within the APG for IPU positions. With concerted efforts of all members, 19 candidates were eventually nominated. We also deliberated on emergency items, proposals, and candidates for the drafting committee. At the meeting, the IPU Secretariat introduced the project Sexism, Harassment, and Violence Against Women in Parliaments in the Asia-Pacific region. The Asia-Pacific Group focused on ensuring the rights of female parliamentarians to participate in the political affairs. And the members of the Executive Committee from India and Australia briefed the group on the work of the IPU Executive Committee. The representative of the Philippines, as the chair of ASEAN Plus 3, reported the work of the ASEAN Plus 3 meeting. Additionally, China briefed the group on the updating on the preparation of the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliaments. Last but not the least, the Asia-Pacific Group would like to extend its congratulations to all the outcomes we have achieved during the Assembly. This has been a remarkable success in broadening our common ground in promoting social development and justice through parliamentary actions, and enhancing multilateralism. The APG is delighted and honored to be part of this process and is prepared to work together with other parliaments to build on our achievements. We firmly believe that, considering the volatile international situation and increasing global instability, as representatives of our people, it is the shared desire of all parliaments to promote cooperation, dialogue, and unity, thereby making significant contributions to a common and promising future for humanity. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chang Chun-shun. Now I want to give the floor to the Latin America group and the member of Caribbean Sea group, Mari Carmen Alba. Mrs. Mari Carmen Alba, please, floor is yours.
Buenas tardes, señora presidenta, presidenta del Congreso de Uzbekistan.
Assalamu alaikum. Hurmatli ishtirokchilar, avvalambor ruxsatingiz bilan bugungi biz
who was unable to attend on behalf of his country, Guyana.
The proper English,
thank the Parliament of Uzbekistan on behalf of all the GULAC members, President of this historic assembly. We successfully finished the 105th assembly. Moreover, we all
no English translation. No English translation.
We had an amazing host who spared no efforts to extend extraordinarily warm hospitality. We'd like to congratulate Uzbekistan on its choice to host
no English translation. No English translation.
Clearly, we have seen the
English
great organization of the country, and this no doubt will also be the case next year in the former capital. As my preceding colleague, we wish to congratulate the host of
English tarjima kelmayapti manga. Men ispancha bilmayman.
We will also have the parliamentarians next year in Peru and young parliamentarians. The idea is to ensure that the huge fora will focus on Latin America and the Caribbean and also the global world. The physical distance between the
there is no English translation.
Has warranted the presence in this assembly of non-delegations, including Bahamas, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Guyana, Mexico, Uruguay, and Uruguay. We thus had a quorum. However, we'd like to draw attention to this challenge we have in terms of guaranteeing full participation. I'd like to take this opportunity to say that Argentina was absent for reasons that require clarification. We'd like to highlight the solidarity of GULAC and its support. We hope indeed that next October this Parliament will be present. GULAC also had the permanent observer for the second time who attended. I'm referring to Parlatino, the Latin American and Caribbean Parliament, with the President, Uhondo González de Patricio. Among the meetings at this 150th Assembly, we have the presentation of a proposed emergency item sponsored by Chile and Peru, represented by Senator Rojo Edwards, and it referred to tariffs. It was approved, it was not approved, neither were the other two initiatives presented by other political groups. However, this calls attention to the fact that this is a very important issue which has led to a crisis in global trade. It's so very important that it was adopted with certain changes within the Committee on Sustainable Development. As you all know, our founder of the IPU, Premier Patti, wanted the IPU to be an outstanding example of confidence and solidarity around the world. Also, they received the Nobel Peace Prize. We dealt with the remainder of the agenda on the Assembly, and we were present and active in all the areas as parliamentarians. Claudio Cajado, Brazil, and Cynthia Lopez Castro from Mexico actively participated. We actively participated in meetings of the Executive Committee. I'd like to take this opportunity to say to Tulia, thank you for appointing me Vice President of the Executive Committee, and I congratulate the IPU and colleagues from other groups, the other geopolitical groups, and in particular the other vice presidents of the IPU and our Polish colleagues. We also made major contributions in all the bodies of the IPU, including the Forum of Young Parliamentarians and Women Parliamentarians, as mentioned by Cynthia Lopez Castro. In the standing committees, we were extremely active. International peace and security. We refer to the resolution on Palestine, democracy and human rights. Silvia Nani from Uruguay, the committee where Tulia is co-rapporteur with its senator from Argentina. Excellent work, preparatory work was done together with the other co-rapporteurs on the theme of illegal international adoption. And the draft resolution will be debated next October. By the same token, we were present in the Standing Committee on United Nations matters. We had Claudio Cajado, who was present, who will help to clarify the scope of BRICS in terms of sustainable development. Mr. Augusto from Mexico, who is an active member. I could continue to describe contributions made by GULAG to IPU and other entities, like the Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, the Advisory Group on Health Against Terrorism and Extreme Violence, not to mention the Middle East as well. I would like to congratulate the new members of GULAG in the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, our colleagues from Chile, and we're sure that they will do some outstanding work. We would also like to say that our representatives have done made major contributions to debates at the Assembly on parliamentary action for social development and justice. There were special workshops and inter-religious dialogue and interparliamentary action for peace. I'm very pleased to refer to the action taken by GULAG members. In GULAG, we believe deeply in parliamentary diplomacy and the role of national parliaments in building a better world. We shall continue working actively, therefore, to ensure that the IPU becomes ever more relevant within the global order. It will continue to act in the interests of citizens whom we represent. Thank you very much, Madam President, for your careful attention, and I wish you all a safe journey home.
Thank you very much for your also great speech. Now I want to give the floor to 12th class representative from Swiss Parliament member, Mr. Laurent Verly. Please, floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, President of the IPU, Secretary General, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I would like, first of all, like my other colleagues, to very sincerely thank all our friends from Uzbekistan who have welcomed that so beautifully. Thank you very much. Spasiba. I would also like to say that the 12+ group met on 4th April for its pre-session in the afternoon and every morning from the 5th to the 8th of April. During our first meeting, we had an occasion to talk with the President, and we wish to thank her for being so available. This discussion enabled the group to share its concerns pertaining to the introduction on a trial basis of 2 emergency items. This did not comply with the statute. Thank you, Madam President, for taking account of the points raised by some members of 12+ and our colleague from Zimbabwe during the Assembly and for withdrawing this trial. We need to abide by our statutes and rules. The 12+ group also deplores the failure to adopt an emergency item. The third time this has occurred over recent years. This shows growing division between the various countries and geopolitical groups. We feel that it is more necessary than ever to think about the meaning and functioning of these items in order to identify specific means to ensure that this situation does not occur again in the future, thereby paralyzing our ability jointly to take action. 12+ was particularly active in the various committees, particularly peace and international security. I'm referring to the draft resolution, the role of parliaments in the promotion of a 2-state solution in Palestine. And this consensus solution was found in favor of such a 2-state solution. May I also commend the work done in particular by certain people. Our colleague Gabriela Muscanesca, Vice President of the IPU, and also Vice President of the 12+ geopolitical group. I would also like to mention Mr. Blanc from France, President of the Committee of Human Rights and Parliamentarians, and the rapporteur of the resolution on international illegal adoption. I'd like to thank Mrs. Sederfeld from Sweden on her new function as President of the Working Group on Science and Technology, and we wish her a great success in this new capacity. We'd like to refer to Sad Mukende, who's re-elected as the head of the Committee on the Middle East. I wish him every success in the internal restructuring of this committee, which will ensue. We also welcome the election of France and our colleagues from the Netherlands on the new Committee on Health, and we wish them great success in their new positions. And also our colleague who is now joining the group on action against violence. We are very available when it comes to working on the common goals of our organization, as you know full well. I would like also to thank all our colleagues for the very interesting discussions with Secretary General of the IPU, who has done exemplary work, and we wish to convey our gratitude. Thank you to all the members of the staff of the various delegations, and in particular the Secretariat, which has provided great support for the Secretariat of 12+. I wish you all a very successful end to the Assembly and a very safe journey home, and we look forward to welcoming you once again in Geneva this fall.
Laureat Verli janob oliylari, sizga ham katta minnatdorlik bildiramiz samimiy so'zlaringiz uchun.
Yeah, Verli, we also thank you for your input. Now to President Tulia action, please, floor is yours.
Madam President of the Assembly, Mr. Secretary General of the IPU, honorable speakers, deputy speakers, and colleagues. We knew all along that this Assembly, our 150th, needed to be a special one. And I think we can safely say that our gracious hosts have risen to the occasion and made it one to remember, with the warmest of welcomes, impeccable facilities, delicious food, and beautiful surroundings. Rahmat, I said it at the inaugural ceremony, but it bears repeating. On behalf of all of us, Rahmat, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, from the get-go, this assembly has carried a sense of significance. We have commemorated 150 occasions where the world's parliamentarians have answered the IPU's call for democracy for everyone. It is clear that this organization has stood the test of time. There is no question there. But I would also like to say that our mission remains of profound importance, perhaps more so today than ever before. The world needs to hear the voices of its people. The world needs strong parliamentarism. The world needs parliamentary diplomacy. So let's look forward to continued interparliamentary cooperation, to the next 150 IPU assemblies, and to the generations they will serve. Dear fellow parliamentarians, your active participation, insightful contributions, and commitment to the IPU have been the footing of the Assembly's successes. Over the past week, we have had inspiring examples of how your parliaments are rising to the challenges of our time. But these were not just words delivered from the podium. We have also engaged in parliamentary diplomacy to develop meaningful cooperation and take necessary action forward. We must note and celebrate the successes of the past few days. At the same time, we must also be earnest and sincere in acknowledging where we have fallen short, not to point fingers and assign blame, but to reflect and learn. The world is not short of emergencies, yet 2 days ago we fell short of adopting an emergency item resolution. But I would like to invite you to view this as an occasion to strengthen coordination and deepen dialogue amongst member parliaments and geopolitical groups. Dialogue remains our most essential tool. And when it does not succeed, and sometimes happens, it should only be seen as a signal that more dialogue is needed. After all, dialogue is most important not with those who we agree with, but with those who we do not. So let us return to the next IPU assembly with a renewed commitment to engage, to listen to one another, and to build the understanding that is needed to move forward, the only way we can do it together. At the start of my mandate, dear colleagues, I made a promise to explore ways to modernize the IPU statutes and rules. The events of the past few days, and indeed the last 2 years, have shown that in a fractured world, our emergency item procedure is not fulfilling its purpose. We will continue our work to reflect on potential changes to that process, to ensure that the Assembly can always come together, find common ground, and express its position on the most urgent issues of the day. Dear colleagues, dear friends, at the heart of our deliberations, thank you. At the heart of our deliberations was a general debate on a very important subject. We know that the clock is ticking on the Sustainable Development Goals, and we have seen over the past few days just how many of these goals relate to social development and justice. In fact, we could even say that social development and justice are prerequisites for all sustainable development goals. And true sustainable development is measured by how societies treat their most vulnerable, by the quality of the life they offer to their citizens, and by the respect for our shared human condition. The Tashkent Declaration offers us the tools to do just that and send a strong parliamentary contribution to the upcoming second summit on social development. Social progress begins when societies prioritize their citizens. First, at this 150th Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have reaffirmed our shared commitment to place human dignity and well-being at the heart of our policies. We have pledged to invest deliberately and meaningfully in education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Every individual deserves the chance to thrive, from children receiving the schooling they need to succeed, to older persons accessing affordable, compassionate care. We must work to bridge digital and social divides, ensure equitable access to essential services, and empower communities everywhere to flourish. Second, at this Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have underscored that economies must serve humanity, not the other way around. Economic justice demands bold reforms. It is no longer acceptable that wealth accumulates in fewer and fewer hands, while hundreds of millions of individuals struggle for basic human dignity. Democratizing our economies means adopting fairer tax systems. It means supporting small businesses, promoting workers' rights, and fiercely protecting the most vulnerable among us. In line with the core values of our organization, democratizing our economies also means ensuring genuine inclusion, ensuring women, youth, and marginalized groups participate and lead the way toward a more equitable future. Third, at this Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have stressed that democracy and development are deeply intertwined. And every democracy is built on trustworthy institutions. So we are urging increased transparency, accountability, and responsiveness within our government bodies. Colleagues, representation must truly reflect societal diversity, including the voices of women, youth, and minorities in decision-making processes. It also entails strengthening the rule of law, vigorously combating corruption, and encouraging citizen participation in governance and budgeting processes. At the international level, we must support reforms that allow global institutions to effectively address social challenges, resulting in a more just and stable world for current and future generations. So, it is time, dear colleagues and friends, to eradicate poverty and hunger, to invest in people's health, education, and happiness, to protect the planet, to democratize the economy, and to make sure the institutions that guide and oversee these efforts, both national and multilateral, are fit for the purpose. Dear colleagues, dear friends, together and guided by our Tashkent Declaration, we can shape powerful policy rooted in solidarity and justice for all humanity, carrying the aspirations of the people we represent. And today, let us all agree and say we will not let them down. I thank you for listening.
Katta rahmat, Tulia Khanım.
Thank you very much, Tulia Eksan, for your kind words, for your inspiring speech. Thank you very much again. Now I want to give the floor to Inter-Parliamentary Mr. Martin Chungpong.
Madam President of the 150th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Madam President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, honorable speakers and deputy speakers of Parliament present at this Assembly, members of Parliament from across the world, ladies and gentlemen. At the inaugural ceremony of this Assembly, from this same rostrum, I spoke of the many challenges the world is facing. I was hopeful that this week the IPU membership could come together, find consensus, and propose solutions to them. In some cases, as you know, and as you've heard, that has not been possible. But we must not lose hope. Many delegates have pointed out that they come to IPU assemblies not just to hear views that chime with their own, but to hear all sides of the argument, to be challenged, to break free of their echo chambers, to look at the world through different eyes. And even when an assembly does not end with everyone on the same page, we are still very much enriched by what we have learned along the way. We all want concrete outcomes, but sometimes it takes more time than expected. I am sure the Inter-Parliamentary Union will come back from this experience stronger than ever. In the meantime, let us accentuate the positive results of this landmark 150th Assembly. After an inclusive, exhaustive, and often impassioned process led by our Standing Committee on Peace and International Security, we now have passed a resolution on the situation in Israel and Palestine that underscores the important role of our institution in advancing the two-state solution. We have also adopted an important resolution coming from our Standing Committee on Sustainable Development on strategies to mitigate the long-lasting impact of conflicts on sustainable development. The subsidiary bodies of the Governing Council, including the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, the IPU Task Force. During the deliberations of the Council this morning, we had this poignant statement from the Prime Minister of the Republic of Senegal thanking the IPU for what they have done to ensure justice in his country, to ensure that he who had been previously imprisoned was released from jail and was able to participate in the political process in his country, which has led to him being elevated to the office of Prime Minister in his country. This is an example of what the IPU can achieve if we put our heads together. We are united in a common agenda. And I think that we can all feel proud of this. During this assembly, we have allowed space, more space in the program for coordination between the geopolitical groups, the standing committees, and its specialized agencies or bodies. During this assembly, no fewer than 70 separate specialized meetings and events have taken place on a variety of issues that are pertinent to the global agenda. We have had successful or substantive discussions on beliefs and social norms, advocacy for climate action, weapons of mass destruction and reducing methane gas emissions, among many others. We have launched an exciting new campaign on achieving gender equality action by action, promoting concrete actions to achieve parity in parliaments and politics, to encourage institutions to become more gender sensitive, and to combat gender-based violence and discrimination. We have all heard that greater gender equality is our priority theme for this year. I was gratified to see that just over 37% of MPs at this assembly are women, not quite reaching our record of 39% achieved during the assembly in Madrid in 2001 and in Nusa Dua in 2022, but still a sign that we are going in the right direction. And we kicked off this assembly with the Forum of Women Parliamentarians celebrating its 40th anniversary, a milestone that also coincides with the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and the 25th anniversary of the UN Security Council Resolution on Women, Peace and Security. And in short, this assembly, following hot on the heels of the hugely successful Global Conference on Women Parliamentarians, which took place in Mexico. And we can comfortably say that this year of gender equality, this year of focus on gender equality has gotten off to a fantastic start. But this is a bumper year on other accounts and more broadly. In June this year, we will be convening in Rome for the second Parliamentary Conference on Interfaith Dialogue. And I wish to express the hope that we will see as many of you as possible during this very important meeting. Then we will move on to Geneva in late July, where we will be holding the landmark 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament, preceded by the 15th Summit of Women Speakers of Parliament. And these are rare opportunities for as many speakers of parliament as possible, coming from every corner of the world, to come together and review achievements or challenges that have occurred over the past 5 years and rededicate their institutions to more robust action to rise to these challenges. I'm also very happy to see that our IPU family is continuing to grow. We have welcomed Belize as the newest member of the IPU, along with 2 new permanent observers. Delegations from Barbados and the Dominica have also joined us during this assembly in Tashkent to explore possible affiliation too. We are keeping on top of the difficulties that some members of the IPU are facing, whether it be in paying their contributions or transitioning back to democracy after political upheaval. And once again, we have taken steps to modernize and strengthen our statutes and rules, and we will continue exploring more ways to do so. Madam President, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to bring the IPU Assembly to Central Asia for the first time. And I could not imagine a better place for our first visit to Tashkent. We're honored to have His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev with us, delivering a very important and inspiring statement to a special session of the plenary of this assembly. We know very well that his comments during that session have inspired the Tashkent Declaration that was adopted earlier during this session. Madam President, dear Tanzila, we feel very nostalgic already. We feel that this adventure, this wonderful adventure, is about to conclude. We have been working with you closely, you and your colleagues, over the past 1 year to organize this assembly. And it's like an anticlimax now that we are beginning to conclude our deliberations. We want to say thank you to you again for being such a gracious host, for attending to all the details that have led to a very smooth assembly here. Let me use this opportunity also to recognize the contribution of your colleague of the Legislative Chamber, His Excellency Ismailov, for contributing extensively together with his colleagues and staff of the Legislative Chamber to making this assembly a most successful one. Indeed, we'll take away the warmth of hospitality that has been shown to each and every one of us here, and I'm sure that we will all want to come back to Uzbekistan at the earliest opportunity. Madam President, you and your colleagues have given us a wonderful time here in Uzbekistan, and we look forward to the next opportunity. Let me use this opportunity to extend my best wishes to all of you participants, without whom we would not have had this assembly, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. I wish you a safe trip back home to your respective countries. Madam President, Tulia, I was told that I was going to speak after you, before you, but it didn't happen. So now let me use this opportunity to invite you to this rostrum so that we can perform a responsibility that is incumbent upon the leadership of the organization. We would like to invite our gracious host, Dr. Tanzila Nabaeva, to join us here. Yes, you are going to make a speech at the end. You are going to make a speech at the end.
Colleagues, this is the hammer that we use in our parliaments. You all know when a decision has been made, and even here we have been using one. So we are offering it to our Speaker Tanzila as a sign that the IPU appreciates the good work that she has done during this assembly, and wish her more years of service here in Uzbekistan. Thank you. So it has her name. It has her name. And so I'm going to read it. Oh, thank you. You want to stand for her? That's great. Thank you. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have to read the words for you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear Mrs. Tulia Accent, dear Mr. Martin Chinkon, Secretary General, please take your seats, and for almost a week now, we have been holding the 150th anniversary of the Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union. To be honest, as the assembly comes to a close, there is a sense of melancholy in our hearts. Over the past few days, we witnessed engaging plenary sessions, lively debates, and meaningful meetings. Now they're coming to an end. Our assembly once again confirmed its status as an important international platform. Pressing global issues concerning all nations and peoples were discussed openly and freely. This is a great achievement for all of us. The ideas of justice, peace, and humanism resonated powerfully, expressing solidarity with the common challenges of humanity. Most importantly, a spirit of shared thinking, global responsibility, and unity was formed. Every participant approached this process sincerely and with a sense of duty. Our friendly and close-knit parliamentary family demonstrated to the international community our commitment to peace and openness to dialogue. You have witnessed the tremendous efforts made over the past year in cooperation with the Interparliamentary Union. We conducted extensive research and engaged in numerous discussions with its Secretariat. Our goal was singular, to ensure that this Jubilee Assembly would truly be historic and memorable event, and all our proposals were accepted. Thank you very much for this Secretariat of the IPU. And you should understand, our goal was common in order to ensure that this Jubilee Assembly would be truly historic and memorable event. I believe we have achieved this. Many participants confirmed it as well. First and foremost, on behalf of my Uzbek colleagues, I would like to express our deep gratitude to all of you for your kind and warm words about Uzbekistan, as well as for your thoughts about Khiva, Bukhara, Samarkand, and our other regions. I sincerely wish that you come to love Uzbekistan as much as we do, and that you would want to return again and again to this hospitable land. I would also like to extend special thanks to the leadership of the Interparliamentary Union. We expressed our heartfelt gratitude to all parliamentary delegations who participated in the work of the Assembly. Thanks to you, our city of Tashkent transformed into a true international parliamentary hub, a welcoming venue for friendly dialogue. Dear colleagues, I also thank all the experts who actively contributed their suggestions and participated in the Assembly. Special thanks go to the Secretariat staff of the Interparliamentary Union, who worked day and night with us to make the Assembly a success. We must also mention our dedicated volunteers. These young men and women show great warmth, sincere hospitality, and attention to all our guests. Thank you, dear youth, thank you very much. I wish to express particular gratitude to our interpreters who eased our communications. Many of them work with us tirelessly outside their regular jobs and studies. Thank you to you. Likewise, I extend deep appreciation to Secretary General Martin Chukong and all his team members, because you carried out your duties with timeliness and great responsibility. Notably, I would like to mention Andrea, Philippe, Tara, Angela, and other staff worked with us relentlessly for more than a year, day and night without rest. All the words of gratitude we are receiving also belong to you. Thank you immensely.
o'tganligi to'g'risidagi hammasi sizlarga ham tegishli.
Yes, thanks a lot once again, all your staff. To the outstanding President of the Interparliamentary Union, Ms. Tulia Aksen, your contribution to the active functioning of the Union is invaluable. Today, the IPU's international prestige continues to grow, and we cannot acknowledge it. Not acknowledge. You have played a major role in fostering a productive and friendly atmosphere within its team. You are doing everything in your power to ensure that IPU's decisions positively impact people's lives and promote the development of global parliamentarism. Under your leadership, these efforts will surely be etched into history of the Interparliamentary Union forever. Dear colleagues, I am confident that this assembly will be remembered for a lifetime. It will stay in our memories, especially for its open, friendly spirit. I think from tomorrow, the assembly held in Tashkent will be written into the pages of history, and I believe it will remain one of the brightest chapters in this history. This assembly has been a truly global event. It opened up new, meaningful avenues of cooperation for us. It reminded us once again to look to the future with sincerely and a fresh perspective. It taught us a better understanding one another. Once again, on behalf of my compatriots, I wish you all the best and thank you very much. Dear participants, thank you for enriching and exciting days we spent together. I extend my heartfelt best wishes to all of you. As we part, we express our hope to meet again on many occasions. Dear friends, this is not goodbye. It is until we meet again.
Until we meet again.
With that, if you let me know, using this small gift, this small hammer, I declare it closed. Dear colleagues, with that, I declare the 150th anniversary Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union closed.
Yim.
в принципе, определяем.